So yeah, lots of nasty with this old carpet, plus lots of rust. Now, I'm looking under this padding, the original padding. I mean, the edges are kind of nasty, but underneath there seems to be no rust. So we'll see. I might actually keep this padding in place. I'm covering it with some batting and then some plywood flooring and go from there. This rubber lining for the step, I might be able to reuse if it's not too, what do you call it, decayed or brittle. But all the carpeting has to go. It's just filthy, filthy dirty. Yep, that light gray strip is the original carpet color in contrast with the general dirty brown. So yes, the carpet had to go. So then, as I pulled up and removed the padding, I discovered lots of spots of rust all over the floor. Most of it was surface rust, but about a fourth of it was the deep variety of rust. So to deal with the rust, there's plenty of scraping, sanding, cleaning, and painting till you get it done. I did not paint the entire floor. I just painted the rust spots and blended it all in with the rest of the floor since it still had a good paint finish. Then I unpacked the new insulated floor padding to measure and cut it to fit. So as you can see, I kept the nasty, the carpet, to use it as a template for the new padding. So even though I'll be using this as a template, I'm not using the exact measurements because the carpet did not go all the way to the sidewalls, and my new flooring is going to go all the way to contact. Well, not completely contact the sidewalls because you don't want to create vibration. But in other words, my flooring is going to go wider than the carpet did by at least an inch or two. And then the insulation will take up the rest of the gap. Okay, I've cut and fit the 3 sections of heat and sound padding for the van floor. So those sections are done. Now I've got to go to the van and mark measurements for where the drill holes are going to be, because I have to put down the padding, then I put down the floorboards, which are also all cut and ready to go. Need to know where the screw holes will be because I need to mount it on the raised ribs or the raised ridges in the floorboard. So the spaces in the floor where the bench seats were anchored, I filled those in with the great stuff, that foam, expandable foam. That's just to, help block out moisture and also help absorb sound and noise. So basically I'm measuring and marking where I'm going to want to drill in my self self-driving or self-drilling screws that'll go through the floorboard, through the padding beneath it, into the van floor. Marking on the side with tape the rows where the screws will be, and making note of the distances, just simply measuring from a good point in line with the tape. That way when the padding's down, the floorboard's down, I can reference the blue tape, measure, and that's where I will screw in the screws. Since the floor is uneven with these ribs, I call them ribs, raised ribs, you have all these low areas in the floor that are lower than the ribs. And especially up here where I'm going to be getting in and out of the van a lot, I wanted the floorboard to have equal support. So I installed some 1/4-inch strips of poplar, painted them to waterproof them. But anyway, I put the 1/4-inch pieces at various locations to help support the floorboard once it's installed. But again, the insulation, heat, and soundproofing or sound barrier padding is actually going to go in first. I'll glue it in. First the strips, then the padding, then the floorboards will go in. So there was a small delay in doing the floor work. Had to actually move my stored possessions one more time to another location. But anyway, so that of course scraped up the nice paintwork on the floor a little bit. I'll probably touch up any bare metal again with some primer. But also the carpeting and padding on the wheel wells. The carpeting was so old, it's really, the fibers are just kind of falling out. But I didn't want to have to find whole new wheel covers. So I came up with the idea, okay, I'll cover the carpeting, the old carpeting, with like just some old scrap material. So that's denim, which is great. My sister graciously allowed me to use some old denim jean scraps from her sewing room and all of her various supplies. And she even cut the pieces to my needed measurements. Very, very nice. So I covered the wheel wells with the jean denim. But then, of course, this morning, after a nice rain last night and the dew in the air, I realized, okay, jean material, it soaks up moisture. So like the old days when they used canvas material, so I'll need to paint my denim wheel cover material layer, I guess with some latex paint or something, and waterproof it so it won't produce mold and mildew in the future. So hopefully the some acrylic latex paint will waterproof this jean denim material. I did not film finishing putting down all the floor padding, but the floor padding was done yesterday. The boards, the floorboards that I already cut out, the first two, I painted those. My brother-in-law helped me set this back one in. We got the other one in, the middle one. And now I'm going to measure for the last board up front. Held off on that just to make sure I had accurate measurements. So get that board cut, painted, and installed up front. I've installed the 3 sections for the wooden floorboard with the soundproofing and slight heat insulating pads beneath. Now I have to attach the floorboards down to the sheet metal itself. And then we can start over here working on the layout for the shelving, that kind of thing, batteries in the back, the whole power system back there. So moving along. Okay, the floor is finally installed 2 months after the original planned date to have it done. So now that I know I'm 2 months behind, I'm adjusting everything else accordingly. But anyway, so from the floor we start building up, literally.